I think that the name is like perfect because I have seen so many different stories of people kind of finding healing through connecting with the horses, including myself.
And I feel like this is like a good process to help people like heal on the individual level and see it through a different species. You know, it's just another thing. We're always looking for that human story to like inspire us or give us hope. Like who knew a species could like completely change our perspective and shift our paradigm into like this whole new way of living, like in harmony. Like, it's not just our society, it's our animals, our trees, our nature, everything. And I feel like horses honor all of that.
Co-evolution of species, our development with horses. And looking back over the thousands of years that we've interacted with them, humans got taller and smarter once they started living with horses to help them grow their fields, expand their civilizations, settle down. They took us to new places, but they also allowed us to settle in communities and establish a regular food source. So they've been helping human potential and human development for a really long time. And the reason why I think a lot of women... What I like about having a human lead a horse is that when you step forward and you doubt yourself, or you doubt where you're headed, or you don't really have a focus, then the horse is like, I don't know how I feel about going where you want to go. As soon as you step into your own, so to speak, step forward with intention and focus and purpose, the horse usually, unless you're being incongruent in some other area, will step forward willingly and follow wherever you want to go. So some people don't even know what that feels like. They haven't lived their life at a point where they can trust themselves to step forward with intention and in their truth and with good focus, especially as codependents. Anyway, so stepping forward and changing your own mind and body in that way, your own heart, and the way you're stepping forward in energy and intention and connection, to feel that is like an aha. I mean, I can give you another scenario where I took a participant out with a horse, and we were talking about, you know, thinking of things that were depressing, and I call, you know, our Eeyore state, where it's, oh, thanks for noticing, life's so hard, you know, depression. And the horse will go forward, but it has a different energy, it has a different feeling, if it's authentic, if that person's authentically in that space. And then as soon as you change, and particularly with recovery, what I find works is to ask someone to think of what it would feel like to have unconditional warm regard for themselves, for their life, for the people around them. What happens? And when you change that and you have this unconditional warm regard, which for a lot of us isn't something we learned, especially if we came from addicted homes where it's judgmental and all or nothing, and you know, that kind of crazy chaotic stuff that covers up lots of pain. But as soon as you have this unconditional warm regard and this positive state about yourself and the world around you, you get a different horse there too. So we can teach people all these life skills that are harder in concrete ways in other spaces to have them understand. I mean, once that horse changes, ears forward, eyes bright, stepping forward, moving in time, back in rhythm, that's something you can't deny. And how else can you have a human work with those kind of emotions or energies and get that kind of instant feedback? Horses are beautiful at that.
So here's an interesting thing about horse leadership. The leader moves the group along, right? The leader's always pushing forward, and not always from the front do they follow her. Oftentimes she's at the back, guiding the herd from behind. So positions of leadership within a family system, within a classroom, whatever, it isn't always about getting out front and dragging. Sometimes it's about getting behind and guiding forward. And the nice thing about a horse herd is they can't force the followers to follow them. The leadership isn't done because I'm in charge and I'm the parent, or the org chart says I'm the boss, right? Their leadership's based on who has the greater good in mind and who can hold space and who can dissipate conflict and who can get the social order back and who shows character and consistency and trust and responsibility towards the group. That's who gets to lead. So here's the other thing I would tell you is, what is the rest of the herd doing? They're trying to help her. You see that?
Yeah, just remaining
Yeah.
in their space and being
Yep.
consistently calm
Yep.
and not allowing her
Right.
quick
If they-
movement to make them move.
And if they thought that there was some danger, though, they would be right there with her.
And they're showing her that she's safe.
Right.
That's amazing the way those two are standing. They're holding that energy.
And she's got to move to calm herself down. So when we get hits of adrenaline, the worst thing we
Just
ask
try
them
to
to
make
do is
people
say,
do is be still.
stand still,
Okay.
right? It's movement. Movement allows the adrenaline and the stress to disperse. Just like the lead mare and the other horse are there trying to help her just kind of hold space and breathe and stay calm and relax. And does this remind you of anything, Tamara?
Every standpoint is that, when someone's running around and they're frantic and they're scared and it's like you don't really understand what's going on. For me, I used to chase that person around and like, calm down and chill out. It's okay. You're chasing that person around, and what I realized, like, chasing that person around physically exhausts you. It exhausts you physically, it exhausts you spiritually and emotionally, because now you put yourself in someone else's place. And what I learned from that exercise is like holding that space for them. They're gonna run it out, and then when they're ready to calm down, we'll be right here in that same space where they're safe, where they're loved, where they're healthy.
I always find it interesting what people will label the horse if things aren't going their way. That's usually the human's projection onto the horse of some issue that they probably should look at in themselves. So they're beautiful at giving us that mirror that way. They could help me parent better, because I learned it's not about micromanaging. That was the biggest first lesson I had with a horse, was not to micromanage it, be able to work with it, to come from a place of respect and reciprocity and compassion and empathy. And then I get a different horse. I get a horse that has respect and compassion and empathy, and that's the horse I want.
People that have trauma, like if you're raised in a family where all you know is poverty, all you know is pain, all you know is anger and abuse, and just growing up like that, then to be an adult and have to undo that is very challenging. And I feel like what you taught about horses, of like their history with humans and how forgiving they are, and how they can respond to chaos but then go back to grazing, like you just said, like, that's amazing. I feel like that's what we all need. We need to get back to grazing. You know what I'm saying? We need to get back to that place of peace.
Are you
where-
talking about our society in general?
Yes, all of us.
Yeah.
Like, we need that back where
Yeah.
we can feel safe and know how to respond to things that aren't right. But even, it's not just a threat, you know what I'm saying? Some of our threats come internally,
Internal threats.
and I feel like this is like a good process to help people like heal on the individual level.
Coming from a place where you can kind of understand someone's situation, you tend to be more patient with them.
Yeah.
And so first it came with the horses, then it translated into my life
Mhm.
every day. And it changed the type of aunt I was,
Yeah.
the type of friend I was, and the type of daughter I was,
Yeah.
everything about
Yeah.
it. And then beyond that, like connecting with yourself, like kind of finding and realizing who you really are. And,
Yeah.
you know, feeling your emotions, honoring them,
Mhm.
and being honest with yourself.
Mhm.
Which is always huge, because nobody sits you down in school and says like, so when you're angry, that means that a boundary is violated with you, and that has to do with your value system. And when you're sad, you know, you need to honor that, and it's not bad to be sad. And
Yeah.
so horses, they're amazing because they see through the mask.
There's a difference between a push-in and a check-in. And a check-in's fine. This is great relationship skills for teenage girls and guys. The difference between a check-in and a push-in. And it has an energy about it. And imagine how many people could keep themselves safer, hopefully, by understanding that a boundary was being crossed early on versus when it's too late. Because when it's too late, that's when you get stepped on. Did you almost stepped on Tamara? You need to learn to back up. Back up. Back up. We don't push on humans. So you can begin to trust your feelings. Like, oh, gee, maybe this is a push in. Do I want to be pushed in, or do I want to be sure that my space is respected? So that's a huge relationship skill, is understanding when respect is lacking and when it's there, and what does it feel like when it is there.
And then the boundary thing with my daughter, and she has these like incredible fits, and I'm trying something different. Yeah, they're amazing. And I'm trying something different because, I was raised with a heavy hand, and so now at home, when she flips out, I let her. I just like, you know what, don't put your hands on me. I just like, get out of my space.
And they move over there.
Yeah, right. As long as you don't mess with this little bubble right here, we're good, little girl. You know what I'm saying? But go over there, throw your pillows, hit the wall, do what you gotta do. And when you're ready, come here and give me a hug. And that has been working. Like, her behavior is just, now like when she goes to her grandma's house, like on the weekend, my mom's not calling me at 10 o'clock at night begging me to get her to calm down. I'm going to have to come get her all the way in Everett from Federal Way. And so then I remember what I went through, because I'm a person that has been healing all the way from birth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went back far into my own personal history to figure out where are all these emotions coming from. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, like, I realized, like, when those moments happen, I don't know what to do because of what I was taught. You know.
Basically, what I hear you saying is that they taught you emotional containment, whereas in your family there wasn't emotional containment. It kind of went eked out sideways.
Punishment.
People were frustrated, so you were like, oh yeah, it is important to understand emotional containment, contain my emotions in the environment, not deny them, not numb them, but honor them and contain them. That's a huge parenting skill. That's a huge life skill, leadership skill. Horses are really good at helping intuitive people trust their intuition and know that it's okay to be intuitive and emotional. They're not afraid of their emotions. They live in their emotional environment, just like they live in their environment. And they make decisions about how they're going to proceed, either in relationship or in reaction to their environment, based on their emotional state. If they're afraid, they're going to spook and try to run away. If they're happy, they're going to drop their head and eat and, enjoy the day. So their emotions dictate their actions that day.
That's awesome. And so they eat because they're happy. That's great.
They teach us to trust our emotions. Yeah, eat when they're happy. Maybe we don't want that one in there. They'll drop their head, relax, and enjoy the sun if they're happy. How's that? My family survived trauma. For a long time, we didn't laugh. We didn't smile. We didn't know what was going to bring us joy or insight or passion. The world felt dark. They brought a new sense of movement, a new sense of energy, a new sense of direction. They gave us something to talk about that wasn't the bad crap. It was the good stuff. It was what we were learning. It was their personalities, and how that mirrored us or mirrored people we knew, and how we were going to solve problems with that personality that we were dealing with. And it became a very proactive way of working through our problem in an experiential sort of way.
So now I got this new model to look at, this new family model for me, really, because my family wasn't a herd. Right. You know what I'm saying? We stick together. We're all lone rangers, and so now I'm trying to do something that keeps us together no matter where we're at in our lives, hearts, age, whatever. And that gave me something, a model to follow. When you had Brittany hug the horse, like, that was a big deal for her, because she was, she can't see or anything. And here she is, like, putting her body weight on this gentle animal, and
I was trying to imagine what it must be like for her. We have another student that rides that her eyes are missing. She's blind, and I always wonder what that sensation would, because I don't know, because my world is processed so visually. Yeah. And so when I close my eyes, I lose my balance. because I didn't realize I use my eyes for balance. I use my eyesight for balance. So it's a different level of proprioception. I wonder what that's like when you haven't developed the cones in your eyes, the neural circuitry for visual input in your world, and it's based on other senses. Just be curious.
Yeah, Brittany, imagine riding with 5 of us like all over the state. Like
She's
that girl
awesome.
is amazing, and her perception is like, it's actually much like a horse. She feels she needs people to come with the correct energy. She doesn't like suspect energy at all. Like people need to be like honest in their tones and their vibrations that they have, even just in their emotions, because she can feel them. She's she's very emotionally like attuned, and those horses, like, it just does something to people like that, because like I think it validated her emotions too, and understanding how she works and why she responds to the world the way she does. And
Ram. Did you want to give him another hug, Brittany?
I'm gonna go back this way so you can
I'm
see
going to
you.
show her. I'm going to let her do it this way.
Okay.
This way you get to face him heart to heart. So your heart's here and his heart's here, right here. And you're just going to stand here and put an arm over him like that. And give him a hug.
Oh.
You can do it again. He likes it. You can hug him harder.
Relax. Oh, see? He just relaxed into
What I
you.
really took away from it today was learning that I could be transparent, how honest we have the ability to be with ourselves and, you know, those around us, even though they don't speak English. Everybody, even though they don't speak English, they speak loud and clear. And if they could speak that clearly, then there shouldn't be a reason why we can't, and we have language. So, and we have a heart. So, yeah, so that's a good.
Awesome. Pretty good.
Awesome.